So the 4th of July just went by. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show. I was given the option to not do a show, and I said, wait a minute, the 4th of July, we need to talk about things. And look at the G20. The rocket's red glare. On Tuesday, North Korea announced that it has successfully test-fired an ICBM, which is capable of hitting anywhere in the world. I believe that some people were saying that wasn't really much of an ICBM. It was more like an intermediate-range missile. And I believe the joke is, that's what she said. But anyway, but then again, apparently after more investigation, they discovered that they had put another rocket on top of that rocket. They made a two-stager out of it. And yeah, it could go up into the stratosphere and travel a great distance. Over 1,000 miles up, straight up, and then with the boosters, and then fall down wherever they want to. So maybe, just maybe, they built a good one. I don't know. I just work here. So, the United States describes the successful ICBM missile test as an international threat. Oh yeah, well, everybody else tests their missiles. Why can't Kimmy? Why can't Kim Jong-il? Come on now. He even called it a gift. A 4th of July gift to the American bastards. I mean, aren't we? I mean, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, are we not American bastards? Come on now. I don't think he's just a kidder, though. He's pulling a chain. He's a chain puller. The Korean Central News Agency said on Tuesday that the recently tested intercontinental ballistic missile is capable of carrying large, heavy nuclear warhead, which is capable of re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, I said that already. Why are they repeating what things I say? It added that Kim personally oversaw the launch of Hwasong-14 missile and expressed satisfaction. Little Kimmy expressing satisfaction. He looks so happy all the time. I wonder what satisfaction looks like. He said that the missile test looked as handsome as a good-looking boy, and it was well made. That's what he said. As handsome as a good-looking boy. Excuse me, did little Kimmy just come out of the closet? Kimmy, you're revealing too much. So, in response, the United States and South Korea fired surface-to-surface missiles in reaction to North Korea's missile test. So, yeah, they celebrate the 4th of July all over the world. This was our Independence Day, and everybody else is shooting off missiles to celebrate with us. I think it's a nice thing, don't you? The U.S. and South Korea, they conducted simultaneous launches from the U.S. Army Tactical Missile System and South Korea's Hyunmoo Missile 2 system on Tuesday. And not to be outdone, Libya also. Oh, this isn't fun though. They experienced a rocket launch. This one hit a beach in Tripoli, and it killed 5 people. That wasn't a test. That was part of their civil war that's been going on in Libya, which we helped start. Remember Hitler going, we came, we saw, he died! In my mind, Hillary's the Wicked Witch of the West. I don't know, that's how I see her. I don't know how you see her. It hit a beach in Tripoli, killing 5 people, at least 1 child, wounding 25 others. The Interior Ministry source said that there were clashes Tuesday inside the Mitiga airport perimeter between security forces and an outlawed group. I wonder if that's the same airport that the UN set up in. Back at the UN, they set up their government of national accord. They brought them in the middle of the night on a boat from, and then put them in there because it's right there on the coast. This has to be that one, Mitiga Airport. And this is the UN. They set up their own government of national accord. Now, the UN was very active in taking over Libya. So, the UN, what's the story on the UN? Are they good guys or bad guys? Because they're not wanted. The people of Libya are very well aware that the UN, they call them peacekeeper troops. Oh, no. They came in as an invading force. And I've gone into great detail about that in the past, but it bears repeating. That the UN was very much involved in the takedown of Gaddafi. And Gaddafi was a hero to his people. So, once again, we don't got the right. And so what do? We bring in, oh, wait, we bring in NATO. Oh, no, this time they bring in the UN. Is everybody, is every military organization a puppet of the Rothschilds? What's the story here? Their main sin, as many of them were they were producing their own money. And they kicked out the Rothschild Central Bank. That's what the 4th of July is all about, you know, in case you kids are wondering. It ain't about stamps. It ain't about the Tea Party. It's about the people in our country back in the 1700s making their own money, having their own scrip, and doing well. So no, the Rothschilds weren't having any of that, and they controlled, even at the time, especially at the time, it was like the beginning of it. They came to power during the Napoleonic Wars, and that's what our 1776 is all about, is our kicking off the yoke of them. And right after we whooped them and their mercenaries that they brought with them, they set up a central bank. What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you hear some people talk about Alexander Hamilton as being a hero, and they put him on the $10 bill. That guy was a Rothschild agent. There was a guy that bitch slapped him in public and accused him of being an agent of the bankers. And he used too many words, too much complicated words, and talked our president George Washington into letting him set up a central bank. And so, who was it that? I can't think of the guy's name, but that guy bitch slapped him and challenged him to a duel, shot him, and then a few days later the man died. That's my hero. I'm thinking Arnold Palmer. No, that's the golfer. Anyway, moving right along. That's what this Declaration of Independence is all about, and we are still under the yoke of them. They come and go, don't they? These central banks in our country. We tried to kick them out a decade afterwards, and they had the War of 1812. They sent in German mercenaries, burnt down the White House. They attacked Washington, D.C. That was then. Abraham Lincoln started printing greenbacks. What did he print? $4.5 million worth of, I think they call them greenbacks, independent of the Rothschild banks. And they put a bullet in his head. John Fitzgerald Kennedy printed $4.5 billion worth of, I don't remember what they were called. I think they were called federal notes or something like that. Independent of the Rothschild Central Bank that we've been under the thumb of since 1913. You can say there's a lot of different reasons that they assassinated JFK, but I'll tell you what, ladies and germs, you cannot print money as a government independent of the Rothschilds and expect to live very long. And that's the story on that. Just thought I'd set the record straight. I'm getting off script here, but those are what's really going on. On the 4th of July, a lot of people, that have guns, they'll go out and same thing on New Year's. They'll go out with their guns and they'll fire them off because they haven't shot their guns in a while, and it's a good excuse to do it. And you can hide it in the fireworks shows going on in the neighborhood, right? Well, I believe it got a little out of hand in Chicago. There were gunmen shooting over 100 people over the 4-day weekend. A dozen were killed. Gang crime and gun violence plagued most parts of South and West Sides from Friday afternoon through Tuesday afternoon. Come on now. They're crazy over there, I tell you. Trump said he was going to send in some extra cops to help them out. They took on 1,300 police officers in Chicago to work each day since Friday to patrol those neighborhoods. And anyway, they had a lot of extra cops. But what are cops going to do? They're going to say, okay, Chicago is a no-gun town. Hello. They say, oh, you got to get rid of guns because the guns are a problem. Well, they got rid of the guns. There's no guns allowed in Chicago. Yeah, I think your theory doesn't work. Maybe more people should have guns to defend themselves against the people with guns. Just a thought, but I believe that was the thought in mind when they wrote the Second Amendment to the Constitution. And that's actually not to protect us from the gangsters in Chicago. It's more to protect us from the gangsters in Washington. That's the reason behind the Second Amendment. That was the reason behind our revolution. One of the things that kicked off that revolution, besides them taking away our scripts, they came in and started collecting guns in 1776, 1775. They started gathering up the guns, and the colonists said, no, 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 no. You cannot take our country. We are going to have an independent nation. Another interesting tidbit for those of you who are keeping track of what's going on in the world. 1776, we declared independence. We had a Revolutionary War, and we whooped them. Did we ever get a document from King George saying that they relinquish control over the colonies? Huh? Anybody got a copy of that document in your little file folder there of things that you keep around? You got a Constitution, you got a Declaration of Independence, you got the Bill of Rights, but nobody's got a framed copy with King George from back in 1770s saying, okay, you won, you're now independent. Because maybe in their eyes at the time, and perhaps in the eyes of the people that own England, we're not independent. And if you look at what our government does, I'd say that's a fair appraisal of the situation. I'm patting myself on the back, and you know how painful that is. What else is going on? In Lebanon, Lebanese security forces have broken up a Daesh-affiliated cell operating under the disguise of a football team. Of course, it's probably soccer, but that's what they called it in the news. They called it a football team. We call it soccer. Let's call the whole thing off. But actually, they're planning to carry out acts of terror in the Arab country through recruitment of young men. The team's training sessions were regularly interrupted by religious sessions that focused heavily on indoctrinating the new members of the team with Daesh's extremist ideology. Oh, really? I think what really gave it away was when they're out there playing soccer. The guys are carrying AK-47s, and they got balaclavas over their face, and they're carrying the ISIS flag. Maybe that's what gave it away. You gotta learn how to be more secretive. These guys are just, they've never seen a Bond movie. The United Nations. I was talking about the United Nations a while ago. Let's talk some more smack about those bastards. The United Nations, they've adopted a legally binding treaty prohibiting nuclear weapons. Oh yeah, for the first time in the 7-decade effort to avert a nuclear war. They've been trying, and now they finally adopted a treaty. It's called the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, and it was adopted on Friday by a vote of 122 in favor, and only one country, a NATO member of course, the Netherlands, voting against. Well, their name is Nether. Nether. Never say never again. Oh, and Singapore abstained. The United States, Russia, Britain, France, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and the Israeli regime, all who have possession of, they got lots of nuclear weapons. That's pretty much where all of them are. And they didn't even take part in the negotiations or the voting. So, really, according to the draft text agreed on by the 129 new UN countries, the treaty covers the full range of nuclear weapons-related activities, prohibiting undertaking by any state party to develop, test, produce, manufacture, acquire, possess, or stockpile nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices. The 10-page treaty also includes any undertaking to use or threaten to use nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices. Yeah, well, sure. How much teeth do they have? I mean, if they send out their troops with the blue helmets on, then they're doing something. But I mean, this is just blowing smoke. What about, let's talk about Israel some more, okay? Just picking a country at random out of 200 countries. The international community always issues statements on the occupation of the Palestinian lands by the Israeli regime. But the United States really doesn't do anything about it.